Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a Sunday stream, which we don't usually do. There's usually a transfer plans video today, but I thought it would be interesting to schedule a stream. And I scheduled this before the Man City game, and I thought if it goes well, then you'll see me smiling and happy, which is obviously what you're seeing right now. And if it doesn't go very well, then you'll be able to watch me cry live. But listen, I'm not going to sit here and be... No, but I actually am not going to sit here and be smug because, as you guys know, I went without Haaland, but this was the most difficult fixture. So if there was a game that Haaland was going to blank, and it's this, the next three for Manchester City are Brighton, Man United, and Bournemouth. So I'm not claiming for it to be a success. I'm not claiming to be the best manager in the world on the back of Haaland blanking against the second best defence in the league. But obviously it went very well. So do let me know where you're tuning in from, as always. Let me know how many points you got. And let me know if you followed me with the no Haaland drafts, because at the moment it has gone well. I'm definitely going to celebrate this as a win, but it's only been one game week. And regardless of the Haaland situation, you can't judge a wild card based on 1 week, right? You wild card for a minimum 4 to 6 game weeks. So I would say around game week 13, 14, we can start to consider if this has been a success. But obviously, I'm delighted. This went better than I could have possibly hoped for. And I will show you my game week in a second. But yeah, let me know what scores are we looking at so far. 66, green arrow to 380k. Lots of happy non-Haaland owners. Some people, by the way, you could have still got a really good score. I've seen loads of people score in the 70s with Haaland as well. So it's not just if you dropped Haaland, you did well. I just think if you did drop Haaland, you're more likely to own the players like Trippier, Watkins, Darwin, who also picked up points too. Would have been a 25 points if I didn't captain Salah. Yeah, to be honest, Salah carried a lot of our game weeks. But again, if you watched my content throughout the week, I thought that Salah was the clear favourite for captaincy. That's not a hindsight thing. I think there were so many doubts around Son. We had doubts about his minutes. We had doubts about the way that they would play against a low-block Luton side, who are actually decent defensively at home. We knew how shocking Brighton have been defensively. At home as well, they've been really, really bad. So I think there were just enough things that made me favour Salah. But that is definitely not hindsight, by the way. That was what we said throughout the week as well. So I'll just move over to my score. I'm not going to sit on it too long because then we'll start moving and thinking a little bit more about game week 9. There's no real structure to this stream. So if you're watching this back as a video, I may not even timestamp it particularly because it's just going to be a general chat and hopefully you can kick back. This will be the only piece of content for a whole probably 8 or 9 days because there's no point uploading during the international break. Anything can happen. I'm going to have a bit of a break myself. So basically, yeah. Next week, maybe even the week after that, basically in the lead up to game week 9, we'll be back on the content. So if you're watching this back, you can split up into little videos yourself. What one do I want to click on first? I want to go there. And I want to show you my score. So I'm just going to show you over on Fantasy Football Hub, just because obviously they have the live score and the live rank. And we got 73 points, and we're looking at a live rank of 1.2 million. Now, am I happy with that rank? Absolutely not. And you can see it's updating constantly. I was at 1.15, and I'm at 1.28. So we're around 1.2, 1.1, 1.3 million. And yeah, I'm not delighted with that rank, but considering that I started the game and get 3.2 million, we're almost back in the top 1 mil, which is obviously a fantastic start. But like I said, the difficult period for my team is going to be yet to come with respect to going against Haaland, because obviously Haaland's got Brighton, United and Bournemouth coming up as well. So, listen, as someone said here, Josh said, Ross, United won and you got a green arrow, finally a good weekend. I have been hating football recently. Manchester United have been losing and my FPL has been absolutely stinky. This week, it wasn't a good performance from United, but we won. And I got a big green arrow. So there's not a lot to dislike. There's not a lot to dislike. This is my first time doing FPL. Got 44 points, captain Son. Still a green arrow to 600k overall. Almost took a hit for Sterling. Very nice. Listen, you can't do perfectly every single week. There'll be red arrows. There'll be small greens. You're not just going to have the perfect game week every single week unless you win FPL. But even in that case, FPL is a game of highs and lows. It really is. Gabriel Martinelli, I'm interested. I'm very interested. And we'll discuss this in a second because one of the benefits of no Haaland was having 5 very solid midfielders and 3 very solid strikers or forwards. So I'm in a position where I have 8 attackers all at... Like my cheapest attacker out of all 8 is £7 million Alvarez. So I have so many different routes to Martinelli, to Saka, to all of these different players. FPL Pickle in the stream. Good to see you. Didn't know if you'd be here. You had an awesome week this week. Well deserved. Thank you very much, Pickle. I appreciate that. I'm over 2 mil now, 41 points, absolute stinker. I'm not going to lie, Game Week 7 and Game Week 8, most people would have been better off wildcarding. It does suck because sometimes you hold the wildcard and that's a good thing. Sometimes you play it, it can really, really not pay off. But obviously, for most of us this week, it probably did. I think captaining Salah was the big one. And whilst on my wildcard, I sold Pickford and I sold Sterling for 25 points between them. Bloody hell, Pickford finally got points and so did Sterling. I wouldn't have owned Salah if I didn't wildcard, and I would have captained Son. So, yeah. I think the wildcard definitely has got me up on points. Thanks for putting me on Gahey 9-pointer. My bloody girlfriend got a Gahey 9-pointer as well. Gahey was a second sub for me. But yeah, she got a Gahey 9-pointer. Would have loved it. You would have had more viewers if Haaland had hauled. If Haaland had hauled, I reckon we'd be sat on like 4 or 5k concurrent viewers. Yeah, absolutely. People love the pain and misery. People don't want to sit here and listen to me gloat, although I'm not a particularly gloaty person, so I don't think that'll be happening anyway. Really happy for you, Ross, the relief on your face. Tell me about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Johnston 9-pointer. Yeah. Annoying one, really. Also, back to my girlfriend. She absolutely loves Johnston, and she took Johnston out on her wild card, and she actually played Areola instead of Turner. So, but she got the Gahey 9 points. She can't have everything, can she? You don't want to get a Johnston 9-pointer and a Gahey 9 points. That feels too much. That's unnecessary points, isn't it? Really. You're the goat, not a gloat. I'm not a sore winner. I'm not a gloater. You won't see me sit here and gloat. You'll see me happy, but you'll never see me sit here and gloat. And especially, like I said, I am fully aware that the difficult game for Haaland was this week. I wanted Haaland to blank this week because I know he's not blanking against Brighton, United and Bournemouth. But I think the important thing to remember, I don't need Haaland to blank, right? What I need is my captaincy each week that I would otherwise captain Haaland to match him. And I need the players that I've spread the money to also get close to matching Haaland. Sorry if you can hear loud noises. There's, I don't know if I've mentioned this. I think I mentioned this a few times. I live on the same street as like a biker's pub, and they're just always revving their engines. So apologies if you can hear that. So yeah. Ake own goal. It looked like a Martinelli goal to me. I think if there's any doubt, they'll just give it to Martinelli, won't they? Will you pick Salah captain versus Everton? Should we run a captaincy poll, an early one? By the way, if you are enjoying today's stream, or you're watching it back as a video, can you please smash a like and make sure to subscribe as well? I do really appreciate it, especially dropping a like if you're watching live, because it will just spread the stream out to other people. YouTube's algorithm works in a way where I don't usually stream on a Sunday, so YouTube's probably slightly confused that there's a live stream going on, and they don't push it out to as many people. So, what captaincy poll, Game Week 9. Obviously, this is very, very early. Captaincy poll, Game Week 9. By the way, guys, what do we think about a Sunday stream from time to time? Do you like these Sunday streams straight after the football, or do you prefer it to just be in a video form? Let me know. Again, and if you're watching it back as a video, let me know in the comments. Would you like it as a stream, or do you prefer just like a 15, 20-minute video? I can do either, to be honest. Captaincy poll for Game Week 9. We have Salah against Everton. We have Haaland against Brighton. You know our entire teams were away last week. You'll see in a second. Basically, my entire team is at home. My entire team is at home this week. Most people seem to be saying streams. We might do this, not every single week, but it saves me some hassle because when I do this as a video, I have to start recording during the final game and I don't have all of the information. Whereas now, I've watched the entire Man City Arsenal game. I can bring that into the decision making. So streams maybe work a little bit better, to be honest. Right. I won't tell you who I'm looking to captain yet anyway, but I'll tell you I don't want to influence the poll too much. Love it, Dinosaur. Stream. Sunday stream is cool. Cool. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do this. And yeah, also, Zodiac, I don't have to edit the stream. That is true. As soon as the stream's up, isn't it? Right, so this is my team. I'm not going to gloat for too long, but we'll quickly, very briefly talk through it. Turner clean sheet, massive. Matty Cash, the only one not getting a clean sheet. I kind of expected it. Actually, Aston Villa struggle at Molineux. So it wasn't necessarily a game I was expecting too much from my Aston Villa boys. It's more from Game Week 10, also Game Week 9, but specifically from Game Week 10 that you want the Aston Villa players. Gahey's 9-pointer on the bench obviously sucked a little bit, but Trippier getting an assist. Nice, right? He didn't get a clean sheet, so it wasn't a monster haul, but a cheeky little 6-pointer. Not an issue at all. Probably not worth a 6.8 over Burn getting like a 1 or 2 pointer, but Obviously, that's why you pay the extra, right? Because he has that assist potential. I will just comment on the fact Trippier is not going to continue to get attacking returns like this, right? If you're expecting Trippier to get 5 assists every 3 games, this is ridiculous. Like, it's never going to happen. I think last year he had something like 9 assists in the entirety of the Premier League, like across 38 games. So Trippier will slow down very, very soon. So we might as well make the most of it at the moment. Udogie clean sheet was obviously really, really nice as well. I know people are going to comment that I've got Bruno Fernandes. I don't care. I wanted him in my team. I think he's a good option. I've got him for Sheffield United next week. He was one of the few players to blank, but oh well. I've then got Son for his blank. Bit disappointing, but it was okay. I mean, I didn't expect a lot from him against Luton. It's why I didn't captain him, because I think there was some concern around his fitness, and Luton a low block. It was the early kickoff. There were loads of reasons that I just didn't quite fancy a Son captaincy. So I was always on Salah captaincy. I was always on it. Maddison assist was nice. Maddison's actually very good away from home, whereas Sonny's better at home. And then, listen, Mohamed Salah is the reason we got the green arrow. But this is a decision I'm delighted with because I backed it confidently. I said throughout the week, in my opinion, Salah's the best captain. I put my money where my mouth is. He was the most differential captain as well, and it paid off. And I just think Salah against teams like Brighton is perfect for him. They push so high up the pitch, get caught on the counter. He's also so good for minutes. He's on penalties. I love Mohamed Salah. It's one of I went for Salah instead of Haaland, right? I could have quite easily dropped Salah, but I love him. And any opportunity that you get to own Salah for a nice fixture run is delightful, isn't it? Darwin got a single assist. Watkins got a single assist. Not mind-blowing stuff, but by dropping Haaland, I could get Darwin in. I could get Watkins in. And I don't have to go for Diaby, Solanke, some of the cheaper players that obviously blanked this week. And I just think the likes of Darwin, Watkins, Fernandes, they are better assets longer term. I've got Alvarez in my starting 11, obviously blanked. Did come off early, so that's a little bit worrying, but it's one of those where I'll assess it over the coming weeks. I'm not going to sell Alvarez before Brighton, but I do absolutely think that it's worth considering in the future, especially after the Bournemouth game when their fixtures get a little bit trickier. I did bench Bowen. He was actually my first sub, not my third sub. But yeah, Bowen didn't punish me, luckily. He did have a very good chance. It was a great save by Pope, but he didn't punish me. But as you can see by my team, and we'll move on to it in a second, 5 really, really strong attackers, right? And that is great for me. 5 really strong midfielders, 3 really strong forwards, 8 strong attackers, which means if I want to navigate to get anywhere, I absolutely can. So if I do want to sell Bruno in game week 10 for Saka or for Martinelli, I can do that. If I want to move on Darwin or Watkins to Gabriel Jesus or something like that, I've got the option, or move to Højlund in game week 12 or game week 11. Like, I've got all of these different options with the different price points. So yeah, it went well this week. But again, Haaland has Brighton next week. I've just said how good that Brighton fixture was for Salah. It's an equally good fixture for Haaland. So am I expecting Haaland to get at least 1 return against Brighton? Absolutely. Am I expecting 2? Yes. Like, if I had to guess, I think Haaland will get 2 attacking returns at the least against Brighton. But I knew that he would struggle today, which he did. I know that he's got fixtures coming up, which he'll struggle with. And I also know I have alternative options to captain. So I don't want to keep going on about the Haaland stuff because it will get very boring in the content. But I guess all of this to say, I don't think Haaland's a bad option. I don't think Haaland will blank, and I don't need him to blank. Even if he gets a 13-pointer next week, as long as my captain does well, and as long as the players that I've selected to spread the funds to, like Bruno, Bowen, Trippier, Watkins, do well as well, then it will still be worth it. So hopefully that makes sense. Right. Let's move on to my team for next week then, and I'll leave this up whilst I answer some of your questions. But it's in a really good position, and as you can see by the captaincy, I'm currently planning on captaining Son. Now, I know this will be unpopular based on the fact that Salah's just hauled and Son's just blanked. I guess I would start by saying, if I owned Haaland, he'd be my captain quite comfortably. Like, quite comfortably. I wouldn't even... It wouldn't even be like, let me spend some time thinking about this. If I had Haaland, he'd be my captain. So, as much as it hurts me to say, yeah, if you have him, that's the way I would be leaning. But I don't. So I've got the choice between Salah, Son, maybe Alvarez, and maybe Fernandes. But realistically, it's probably between Salah and Son. I actually don't think Everton are very bad, right? Everton are one of the better defences in the league this season. They're 7th or 8th for expected goals conceded. I don't think they're that terrible. A derby, you never know what's going to happen. It's the early kickoff as well, and Klopp spends his entire life crying about the early kickoff. More so when there's like a fixture build-up, but he doesn't like the early kickoff. Neither do Liverpool. Everton are pretty decent. It's a derby. And so the kind of fixture-wise and timing-wise, I don't massively favour that fixture. Whereas Fulham, I think, are actually one of the worst defences in the league. Son at home against Fulham is a slightly better fixture for me than Son against Luton away. And I think Son will have the opportunity to rest and recover during the international break, hopefully. And he might therefore have slightly better expected minutes. So at the moment, it's very early, could quite easily change my mind. At the moment, I'm actually backing Son ahead of Salah. But if, like I said, if I owned everyone, it wouldn't be a second thought for me. It would comfortably be Erling Haaland. Like I said, if you are watching this live, make sure to vote on the poll. We are doing a captaincy poll. If you're watching it back as a video, 44% are on Haaland, 42% are on Salah, 12% on Son, and 2% on other. So basically, it will be a very equal split between Salah and Haaland, and everyone will ignore Son. So yeah, do you know what? That makes me want to captain Son even more. I like that. I think he's a really good option. Are you playing Gahey or Udogi? Game week 9? Oh, definitely Udogi. Gahey's not getting anywhere close to my 11 unless I get an injury. Not against Newcastle away. Not against Newcastle away. Would you sell Udogi to Pedro Porro? No, not for me. I think Pedro Porro is a better option. On like a wild card, again, if I could find the funds to go from Udogi to Porro, yes, but it's not worth the transfer for me. Genuinely interested in this. You say we are doing something, but we is you, right? Yeah, sorry, when I say we, I mean like we on this channel. I don't know, I incorporate you into the decision. It's not a deliberate thing. I just say like we kind of, because you're watching me and you contribute in the comments and stuff. So yeah, it is just me. I don't have an editor. I don't have anyone that helps contribute to anything. I am the only person on this channel. But yeah, when I say we, it's me and you. Me and you watching this. That's the idea behind it. Richarlison had 2 great chances. Richarlison did. Very, very unlucky if you you had Richarlison, because he obviously came off early due to the red card, and he could have quite comfortably scored 2 goals early on. So yeah, really, really unfortunate there. Sorry, 2 seconds. There we go. Did anyone get more than 73 points? Who beat me then? Who beat my 73 points? Feel free to show off in the chat right now. Most of you will have a better rank than I. I'm still outside the top 1 million, but I'm back on the right path at least. It feels much better being 1.2 mil than it does 3.3 mil, whatever it was. 75. 74 with Haaland. That's impressive. 89 all out. 83. Okay. All right. You're making me feel bad about what is otherwise a very good score. There are always people that do worse. There are always people that do better as well. That's what you have to remember. How many points this week would you say is a good week? Got 64. 64 is exceptional. What's the safety score? Let me have a look. I would say anything above like 50, 55 is a decent week. Anything above 60 is great. Anything above 70 is exceptional. Like I scored 73 and I went from 3.2 mil to 1.2 mil. A 2 million place green arrow. So if you got like 60, you're probably on a big old green arrow. Even 50, 55, you might be on a green depending on where your rank is. There will always be people, we call this survivorship bias in psychology. There will always be people, like the people that post about it and are shouting about their scores will be the people with the highest score possible, right? So it will always seem like the average score is higher than it is. Like you always see all of these people with 75, 80, 85, and you'll be sat there thinking, oh, 60 is a terrible score. It's a very, very good score this week. It's just, all you hear is these people like myself, I've got 70-something. It's just, that's the way it is with FPL. Because the people that don't have a good score, they're not going to spend all their time talking about it. Daniel says, Darwin to Isak for a free transfer. Let's see. Obviously, if Darwin doesn't start post-international break, which I don't think he will, by the way, and I'm going to discuss that in a second, then yeah, maybe. But I guess it depends on what your situation is, right? Because I don't think Darwin will start in Game Week 9, but, and here was what my thinking was on the, here's my thinking on the wild card, right? Game Week 9, Liverpool, the early kickoff. We get early team news on pretty much every team now. And I can't say we'll definitely get it, but there is a good chance we get something reliable on Liverpool. I don't think Darwin will start. And the reason for that is, let me find it. Uruguay. Let me see if you can see that. If I switch to the Twitter one. So the Uruguay-Brazil game is on Wednesday at 1. Right, so that's 1 a.m. on Wednesday, which is technically like Tuesday evening. But Darwin and Diaz, I think Diaz is in Colombia. No, he's not. He's in Ecuador. Diaz is in Ecuador at 12:30 on Wednesday. And Darwin is in Uruguay at 1 a.m. on Wednesday. So basically, all day Wednesday, they'll be playing, then probably traveling back. So Wednesday is an absolute write-off for Diaz and Darwin. I would argue Thursday probably is due to maybe a bit of jet lag and also just recovery. And they're not going to go straight from flying a long flight to just going straight back into training. So with Wednesday and Thursday are write-offs and Liverpool play the early kickoff on Saturday, I think Diaz and Darwin are only going to have Friday to train. Now, Jota is back from suspension, so I would say Jota is an absolute shoo-in to start, which leaves one spot for Diaz, Darwin, or Gakpo. If Gakpo's fit, I would expect Gakpo to start. So my prediction is that Gakpo will be fit, and I think it'll be Salah, Gakpo, Jota. If Gakpo's not, it does leave a spot open for one of Darwin or Diaz. And so there is still a chance that... No, I know Diaz is Colombian. I know Diaz is Colombian. He's playing against Ecuador in Ecuador. I'm not getting my countries mixed up. But Diaz is in Ecuador on the Wednesday. So I think Diaz or Darwin could start if Gakpo's not ready. So I'm not going to sell him or anything yet. But all of that to say, if I go back to my team, I've got Bowen, right? So if I get news that Darwin is benched, I think I'll just simply bring Bowen in. I know he's against Cash, so there's a bit of a clash there. I've got no issue with that, right? Cash could get an attacking return, Bowen could score, and you could get both points from both, especially with how attacking Cash is. He's basically playing like a right midfielder / right winger. If Darwin does start, it creates a slight issue for me because I also don't want to bench Bowen again. I feel like I probably got away with one benching Bowen. But I would argue that Bowen is probably my 8th best attacker here. Maybe Watkins. It'd be between Bowen and Watkins for me. I know you could say bench Bruno. I'm not going to bench Bruno against Sheffield United, right? I might sell him in game week 10. I may well sell him. Especially if he doesn't get me anything in this fixture, he's probably gone. But yeah, so it'll be between Bowen and Darwin for me. But obviously, if Darwin doesn't start and you've not got backup like I have, then yeah, maybe you sell Darwin in game week 9. Does this make Alvarez a dart to start for City playing for Argentina? I honestly don't know, guys. Where are Argentina playing? Let's have a look. Argentina. Okay, so Argentina are playing in Peru. Is that a Peru? Yeah, Argentina are playing in Peru on the Wednesday at 3 a.m. And then when's the Man City fixture? Is it on the Saturday? Yeah, might make Alvarez a bit of a doubt as well. Depends how many minutes Alvarez gets. Depends how quick his recovery is. Depends what other options that Pep feels like he's got. But yeah, any South American players, it's a bit of an issue because they play on the Wednesday, like early hours of the morning. So it could be that Alvarez and or Darwin don't play. I think if both Alvarez and Darwin don't play, I might have to make one transfer. To be honest, I'd probably bring in Højlund against Sheffield United. I'd probably have double Man United attack. I genuinely would, because it would be probably a shorter-term punt I'm looking at. But yeah, I would be looking... We'll see. Hopefully we'll get early team news on one of Darwin or Alvarez, and we'll know by that point. Rico Lewis will start. Yeah, Rico Lewis could start in Alvarez's absence. Rico Lewis looked really good today in that sort of more advanced role. What about Dallo? I actually don't think Man United defenders are a terrible pick at the moment with the fixtures that are coming up, and the attacking threat of Dallo is quite high, but I'm not interested personally. Ross, I took a punt on a 1-year for the Luton game, and now he has an injury. What should I do? I actually don't have any updates on a 1. Like, how bad is the injury? I haven't actually seen anything on it. If he's confirmed out, then obviously you need to move him on. You've still got a decent couple of games for Solanke. If you can stretch to Højlund, I think Sheffield United is obviously a great fixture. Yeah, that's probably... Isak? You can stretch to Isak. Maybe not a bad option. He's confirmed out for a month. Yeah, well then, wait until the international break's gone. Wait until we get any more news around different players, and then you have the option to move elsewhere. Sorry, man, Bruno is killing your team. Yeah, but no one's mentioning the fact that Cash blanked, Alvarez blanked, Darwin and Watkins only got 5 pointers. Like, it's not Bruno that's killing my team. I'm in a good position. I don't think my team's been killed at all. Not every player will return every week. And to be honest, if I didn't go for Bruno, I would have either started Bowen, who blanked, I would have gone for Diaby, who blanked, or I would have gone for Solanke, Diaz, or Trent. All of the other options in that Bruno spot all blanked. So yes, Bruno's been stinky once again, but none of the other options that I would have considered got any returns. Like I said, it was either Luis Diaz and Trent, it would have been Diaby or Bowen in that Fernandes spot, or it would have been Solanke up top, and then, like I said, a Diaz in that Fernandes spot, and I would have lost Darwin. So like every single option, I probably would have been down on points because it probably would have meant shifting Darwin as well. How many points did you get? 73. The FPL site's probably not updated, has it? No, so it's 65, but I got 8 bonus points, right? Because I got the 6 bonus points for Salah and then 2 bonus points for Trippier. So it's 73 points. That Gahey 9 points is a little bit gross. Obviously, if I'd have played Gahey instead of Cash, I'd be in the top million, but you can't get everything right. Yeah, my team last week, just the wildcard was definitely worth it, right? Pickford obviously did really well. Saliba did well, but I probably would have sold someone to not play Saliba. Sterling did well, but I may well have sold Sterling because every Chelsea fan predicted him to not start. Fabian Schär didn't keep a clean sheet. Bruno, Rashford, and Burmo blanked. Son blanked, and I probably would have captained Son. Right, I wouldn't have been able to get Salah into this team. I probably would have done Sterling to Maddison and captain Son. Haaland blanked. Alvarez blanked. Udogie got the clean sheet, but I have Udogie on the wild card. So, yeah. I mean, Pickford and Sterling are the only two that really hauled for me in my old team. But this wildcard team has comfortably outscored it, to be honest. And obviously, I caught all of the price rises as well. That's very, very important. A lot of people struggle to afford this kind of team now. What's your plans in game week 10? We can have a look at that. We can have a look at that right now. If we go over to Hub, pick. So this is my team for game week 9. Like I said, Bowen versus Darwin, stuff like that is to be decided. Going into game week 10, at the moment I've got Bowen on the bench, but there's no chance of me doing that. So I think what will happen is Bowen will come in for one of Darwin or Fernandes. Let's say it's Fernandes for now, but I probably also want to try and get Saka or Martinelli, because I remember game week 10 Sheffield United for Arsenal, and I'm also eyeing up Matoma against, I think they've got Fulham that week, and then on top of that, obviously Diaby's got Luton. So I think Matoma, Diaby, Saka, Martinelli, and even Gabriel Jesus, one or two of those 5 will probably come in for me. And again, this is the nice thing about having the fun spread around is I've got loads of different options. So I think there's maybe a decent chance that Darwin makes way if I think his minutes are in doubt for the Forest game, or maybe even Alvarez. So it'll be Alvarez or Darwin will maybe come out for one of those players. And I know this sounds crazy, but it may well be Maddison that makes way or Bruno. So let's say it is Bruno for Saka. It could even then be Maddison to Martinelli. If I can still afford this at that point, I may well not be able to afford it. But then it could be something like this, I guess, right, where the team is Martinelli and Saka against Sheffield United, Bowen against Everton, still got Sonny and Salah, Watkins against Luton, Alvarez against Manchester United. I may well even bench Alvarez if I think Darwin's going to start. I know Man United's not a terrible fixture, but Darwin against Forest could be nice too. And then the back 3 stays the same. I'd probably bring in Areola, obviously, instead of Turner. So the team will look something like that in game week 10. Maybe 2 transfers on the Arsenal mids. Obviously, that's not ideal next week because they've got Newcastle, but then after that, they have Burnley. So I quite like the idea of getting some Arsenal players back in my team. That was always the plan, right? We always knew we'd want Arsenal players back in, and this kind of structure allows that to happen. It's just if I can't do that with the price changes, I'll either have to take a -4, which I don't have an issue with, by the way. I could even, like this week in game week 10, I could use this week to take out Darwin. Don't laugh, by the way. Don't laugh when I say for Højlund. Bench him for this week against Man City. And then from game week 11, I've got Højlund for a really nice run of fixtures against Fulham, Luton and Everton. So there are loads of different ways that I can kind of structure this and work everything out. But I think I'm in a good position with the way that the team is looking. It'll all depend on what happens in the international break and any early team news that we get. Diaby or Bowen? I'm still the same opinion for me, which is Bowen. Which is why I have Bowen on my wildcard and why I don't have Diaby, I guess. Yelena says, live life on the edge and take a -20. Do you know what? I'm of that opinion at the moment, Yelena. I do what I want. I do what I want. If I want to take -20, I'm going to do it. I don't need to at the moment, but I'm going to start taking hits. I'm going to bring in players based on gut feeling. I'm having fun with FPL, finally. You're pronouncing Gahey wrong. Tell me how to pronounce it then. I was almost certain I watched an interview where he said his name was Gahey, but Gahey, is it? Seems like the will was wrong as well, Ross. I know. I backed against the will and it paid off for once, because normally when I back against the will, it doesn't go particularly well for me. Gahey. Gahey? Gay. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Gahey. Oh, am I too pronouncing it on the h? It's your Ben Me season. I'd like that. What is your team value, Ross? 101. Gay. Was that from? What is that from? What film is that from? Team value is 101.5 million. 0 in the bank. Which obviously isn't ideal, but I don't think I need the money in the bank. Yeah. 73 points after bonus. Show the mini leagues. The only mini league that you're probably interested in is the one with Storms and Chunks and stuff. So Sharky got 48 this week. Not the best week for him, but I mean he's inside the top million. Storms is smashing it, but he's had an absolute shocker of a week. He won't enjoy me talking about that. But Storms has been like genuinely smashing it. He was up close to 100k, but he's had a couple poor weeks back to back. Obviously, this is an absolute stinker for him. He may well play the wild card, to be honest, looking at this team. But yeah, Storm's team. You can see, by the way, none of them copy me. I think people are under the impression they want to be copying. Like, none of their teams are anything like mine. Chunks has had a slightly better week, but he did play wild card. So considering he played the wild card, not perfect, but you can see it is a very good wild card team. He just didn't captain Salah, and a few of his other players didn't come in. And then HP, Mr. Harry Pinero is actually... He's getting there. He's starting to get there. He had Isak, he had Watkins captain, who at least got a return, but he didn't have Salah. And he didn't have Haaland. He must have a lot of money in the bank, surely. How much money does this man have in the bank? He took a -16. Oh, HP. I didn't realise that. Why is he taking a -16? He took a -16 to take out Haaland, Mateta, João Pedro, Jesus and Fernandes, and brought in Son, Watkins, Mateta, Isak, Højlund. Yeah. What's your points this week, man? 73 points I got this week. Chunks and I took the same L's this week, says FPL Pickle. What else did Chunks take this week? Let's go back to Chunks' team. Oh, we benched Turner. Yeah, you benched Turner, didn't you? He didn't have Trippier. Yeah, it's kind of a similar-ish team, actually, isn't it? Your two teams. Yeah, listen, play it your way. Absolutely. Do you know what? People won't agree with me here. I think if you finish first in FPL, but it gives you anxiety all year, you're depressed when watching the football, you're on edge, all of these negative emotions around FPL, but you win it, or you've got someone that finishes 3 million, but absolutely loves playing FPL every single week, I swear on my life, I think the real winner there is the person that finishes 3 mil. It's a game. Like, enjoyment is more important than where you finish. Unless you're playing for cash in cash leagues and stuff, and there is a lot riding on you winning, enjoyment is much more important than rank. Obviously, if you can tie them together, right? If you can finish well, get like top 10k and enjoy it, then great. But people seem to forget that the primary purpose of playing FPL is to have fun. I can promise you, and I swear to God this isn't the case, It's not just because I've had a good week. I have loved FPL so much this weekend. Even when it wasn't going overly well, I was still like, at least I've made some decisions which have spiced it up a bit. But yeah, people just don't seem to have that perspective. They're like, how can you enjoy FPL if you're not doing well? Of course you can. You find ways to enjoy it, right? But yeah, I think people seem to not have that. I mean, yeah, Yells is a great example because she plays the game for fun as well. I mean, she put bloody John McGinn in her wild card. Absolute crazy woman. No, I'm joking. But this is. I guarantee that those kind of picks will be the things that you're in like 3 to 4 years. You won't remember going, I remember when I captained Haaland every single week and finished 14k. You'll be remembering the weeks that you put in John McGinn or you captained this player. And I'm not saying that you like go differential and stupid with it. I'm not saying you sell all of the good players, but do have a bit of fun with it. And I think I'm certainly, what's the word? My brain stopped working. This is when I would edit in a video and I would find the word that I need. I don't know the word I'm looking for. I am susceptible, vulnerable to doing this. I can't think of the word. But I do this myself where, because I'm always thinking about what's optimal and I'm thinking about how to get the most points, I sometimes forget that you play it for fun. So, also, Haaland looks like he's going to drop in price tonight. The no Haaland movement continues. Are you 73 points including bonus? Yeah, yes, including bonus. I think I'm 65 without bonus. This is all well and good, but the next time Haaland scores a hat-trick, we'll be depressed that weekend. The only way we get depressed if Haaland scores a hat-trick is if your captain doesn't do well and the players that you've chosen instead of Haaland don't do well. Because listen, if Darwin gets a 15-pointer next week, I'm not saying he will, or Bowen gets a 15-pointer, which is possible, it happens, and Son captain gets close to Haaland, it doesn't really matter how many points Haaland scores, because my captain has got close to him, or matched him, or outscored him, and my alternative has done well. So, again, I don't need Haaland to blank. I don't need Haaland to not do well. I need the fact that I've removed a 40 million asset to be able to allow me to captain other players and choose other players to pay off. I think if you're viewing it from the perspective that you need Haaland to flop, then you're not getting the point of dropping him. Yeah, Pau Torres. Pau Torres ended up being the one, didn't he? Matty Cash with all this attacking threat, and Pau Torres pops up with a goal. Is Isak a good option? Yeah. But the thing is, Wilson's now, like, I don't know. As soon as you think they're a good option, one of them will pick up an injury and the other one will become a good option. Then the other one will pick up an injury, or they'll both be fit. And then, they get rotated slightly. I don't know. Isak. Good minutes across the last two. 90 and 85. 1.86 goal involvement. 1.61 goal involvement. 0.78 on the opening day. 0.6. If Isak got good minutes, he would be so firmly wedged in my team you wouldn't believe. But he doesn't get good enough minutes on a consistent basis, right? Did Wilson come off the bench? I mean, he only played 4 minutes. But you would suspect that that means that post-international break, Wilson will be back to fitness. As soon as Wilson's back, I don't know who starts. Because, do you remember for that spell here? Only 2 games. But right here, we were saying all of a sudden, Wilson's first choice. Is Wilson an option? We bring in Wilson, he gets injured, then Isak becomes first choice. So I'm just not sure if it's worth going there with the Newcastle forward. Especially when you've got the likes of Watkins, Alvarez, Haaland, Solanke, Højlund, who at least you know are going to get good minutes. I think minutes are a lot more important than people give them credit for. I know you might say, well, I would prefer an average of 55 minutes for Isak than 80, 90 minutes for Højlund. I wouldn't. I think minutes are so much more important than you realise. Please compare Porro and Udogi. Feel unlucky to not get an attacking return from Porro. Porro is a much better option. Absolutely. If you're on a wild card, try and get him. I regret not finding the funds to get Porro because his data's outrageous. He's playing like do you know, like João Cancelo from previous years? He's like drifting up centrally, he's getting shots. He's not like a Reece James or a Trent. I don't think he's playing like beautiful balls into the box or anything like that. He just pops up on the edge of the box out of nowhere and takes shots a lot. So you'll actually see, contrary to most other sort of wing-backs and full-backs, his XG is the impressive part. 0.36 XG, 0.18 XG, 0.09, 0.1. So his XG is actually the same as his XA. So he's as much of a goal threat as he is a creative player. And to be sitting with 0.22 XGI, because Udogi is 0.12. So Udogie's not getting close. He's like half the goal threat and half the creative threat of Pedro Porro. So yeah, Porro's the one. But I think if you bought Udogie at 0.5, you can only sell him for 4.9. Sorry, 4.7 is it? What can I sell Udogie for? Yeah, I can only sell Udogie for 4.7. So if I want Porro, it's a 0.4 million pound difference. If you're buying fresh, there's only 0.2 between them. So I think if you're wildcarding in game week 9 or game week 10, and you still want a Spurs defender, which I don't know if I would. In game week 10, I definitely wouldn't. Game week 9, you've got the Fulham game. The fixtures from game week 10, Palace, Chelsea, Wolves, Villa, City, West Ham, Newcastle, I probably wouldn't have Pedro Porro or Udogie on a wildcard, in all honesty. I'd have an Arsenal defender instead. But if you do, Pedro Porro is the one, absolutely. Not having Højlund is genuinely stressing me out because he looks on the cusp of a hat-trick. Yeah, if you're a Manchester United fan, you're watching Højlund and you're thinking, I like the look of this man. There's just something about him that just screams like natural goal scorer, natural striker. So I am thinking about Højlund. I won't have him for next week unless we get confirmation that Darwin and Alvarez aren't starting, then I might. But from game week 11, when Manchester United have, is it Everton, Fulham and Luton? Fulham, Luton, Everton in that order. For these 3 games here, I may well get Højlund in. Especially at his price point. Really, really nice price point. In and around the same kind of price as Darwin and Alvarez. So yeah. I am kind of just hoping that we get news that Darwin isn't starting because it just gives me less of a benching headache. Oh, my camera's gone. See, even in a Sunday stream, the camera still dies. Yeah, it gives me less of a benching headache and I can just put Bowen straight in. But for the time being, Darwin will be staying in the team, obviously. How many points did you get? 73 points this week. 73. Really, really good week. I'm very happy with that. Delighted, in fact. Is wildcard the only perk we get ×2 of every season? Yeah, so free hit, bench boost, triple captain, you only get one of them. Wildcard you can use up until game week 20 this year. So I think it's normally game week 19 and 18 sometimes, even sometimes 17. But this year it's game week 20. And then from game week 21 onwards, you get your second wildcard. So if you've not used your wildcard now and you don't need it in 9 or 10, I would recommend game week 19 is the week that you wildcard. After Man City's blank. Oh. My camera's still not working. Very annoying. Do you regret not going... oh, sorry, I didn't have time to mute myself with my cough there. Do you regret not going for a slightly more expensive second keeper? Not at the moment. Turner actually looked pretty good, but Johnston is just a beast, isn't he? He really is. But the thing is, I have Gahey, so I don't know that I would want to have had Gahey and Johnston. Might feel like a little bit like overkill. Come on, camera. Do your thing. There we go. But yeah, maybe. We'll see. I think Areola and Turner are fine for the foreseeable. If I have to use a transfer in the future, I have to use a transfer in the future. I'm not going to lie, guys. There isn't a single pick that I regret on my wildcard. There really isn't. There isn't a single pick that I regret. I can't think of any... Oh, actually, Pedro Porro. I do wish I'd have tried to get Pedro. But the thing is, if I got Pedro Porro instead of Udogie, I would have had to sell one of my other players. It probably would have been Bruno, which maybe wouldn't have been the end of the world, but there wasn't any other players that I wanted. I'm still happy I picked Bruno. I've got him for Sheffield United now. And again, anyone that I picked in the Bruno spot, people keep saying, well, Bruno. I'm seeing Bruno with laughing faces. Diaby, blanked. Bruno, blanked. Diaz, blanked. Trent, blanked. Solanke, blanked. I mean, Alvarez, blanked. There wasn't a single player that I considered in that Fernandes spot that actually returned. So you could say I regret Fernandes, but who would I put in instead? Another player that blanked. And now at least I have Fernandes for Sheffield United. In fact, Fernandes is my only player that's playing away from home. I've got 10 players at home, and I've got Bruno against Sheffield United away. Kai says, congratulations, Ross. Just outside 100k with Haaland, Salah, Son, wildcard still with me. I'll tell you what, mate, to be outside the top 100k, just about, so very close, with Haaland, Salah, Son, and your wildcard, perfect start to the season, mate. Absolutely smashed it. Oh, did Diaz get an assist? Oh, I didn't realise Diaz got an assist. Well, fair play. But if I went for Diaz, I wouldn't have gone for Darwin. So, you know? I don't regret captaining Son instead of Salah, but still a bit gutted. Yeah, no, I can imagine. I can imagine. Listen, if you backed your decision at the start of the game week that Son was the better captain, then in your mind, Son was the better captain, so you shouldn't regret your decision. You can be upset and a bit gutted, like you say, but you shouldn't regret it. If you were confident enough at the start of the game week that Son was the better captain, then back yourself that he was. Yeah, no, it was Soboslai, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Soboslai. I don't know, someone told me it was Diaz. No, it was Soboslai. Yeah, Diaz got no assist. How do you check bonus points? I can show you. So what you do is you go onto the fixtures, right? And then you can click on any game. So let's say we're clicking on the Luton Spurs game. And if you just scroll down a scroll down a bit, you have the actual, I don't know why, I'm pointing at my screen as if you're next to me. You can see where it says bonus, that's how many actual points they get. And then you can see bonus point system, and that lists the top 5 from each team. And that will update live throughout the game. So throughout the game, you can check that. This is a little bit of a plug, but I'm not going to do a heavy plug, don't worry. If you do something to Fantasy Football Hub and you go to the live section, they've got really nice... you're not going to be able to see it properly on the right-hand side. You can see half of it. You can see half the team. They've got every player's bonus points. Right, so you can see BPS 13, 11, 9, 10, 4. So you can actually check every single player's bonus points throughout the game on Fantasy Football Hub. So you've either got Hub for more in-depth stuff, but if you just need the basic stuff, then yeah, just head over to FPL. You can do this on the app as well. Look at the fixtures and it will list the bonus points in there. Are there any transfers that you would make with this team, chat? Is there any way that you would go with it? I know everyone will just say sell Bruno, but do consider that he's playing at Sheffield United. And also he's on penalties. Doesn't even need to play well. Could just get a pen. Let me know if there's any transfers you'd... Also, again, if you're watching this back as a video, let me know in the comments. Early transfer plans. What would you be doing with this team? Everyone just said sell Bruno. Darwin to Højlund. Darwin to Højlund's tempting, but would you do Darwin to Højlund to bench Bowen? Because that's it really, isn't it? If I do Darwin to Højlund, Bowen stays on the bench. And I agree, Aston Villa away isn't a great fixture, but Bowen is playing very, very well at the moment. Who did you captain? I captained Salah this week, but next week I'm looking at probably Son at the moment. Are you going to do wildcard drafts through the break? Unlikely, to be honest. I might do one next week, like towards the back end of the week, but unlikely. It'll be exactly the same as mine now. And if you want a Haaland version, you can go back and watch my previous videos. A Game Week 8 to Game Week 9 wildcard wouldn't change massively for me. I can't think of any changes, actually. Would there be any changes? I wouldn't have Darwin or Diaz, is the only difference. Other than that, the team would be very, very similar. Is Souček worth the punt? So Souček was playing more advanced than Ward-Prowse today. And I'm delighted that I gave the advice of Bowen over Ward-Prowse. Because if this continues, not for the entire game, by the way, but for large spells, Souček's playing a more attacking role than Ward-Prowse. Every time I flicked over to the West Ham game, Ward-Prowse was looking like a Rodri type player, like a defensive midfielder, like a Casemiro. He wasn't getting anywhere close to... I don't know what he's... Let's have a look at his data, actually. Just about muted myself in time there. My eyes hurt. That's not good. My eyes sting. I feel like I'm about to cry. It's just crying with happiness, chat. I got a green arrow. Chat, I got a green arrow. I could sob. Yeah, 0.16 XGI. This is the Ward-Prowse that we know and love. I'm not saying he'll do this every game. And listen, Newcastle's a tough game, right? It's a tough game. But I'm not interested. What was Bowen's? Wait, what? Bowen had 0.04 XGI. Wait, is that right or is that just not updated? Let me check another app. 0.04. Okay, ignore me then. Bowen's a stinker as well. Stinky Bowen. I mean, listen, it is Newcastle, but ugh. Ignore me then. I was trying to prove a point. That didn't work very well. Yeah, maybe it was the fixture, potentially. Let me have a look if that is actually factual. Okay, that's actually factual. Bowen had a 0.04 XGI in the Newcastle West Ham game. That is horrific. All right, maybe I do bench Bowen again. But I do think Bowen's a good option long term. I still think he looks good. Who did you captain? I can show you. Yeah, I can show you. Here we go. 73 points. Captain Salah. That's the team. Like I said, if you do want to check out Fantasy Football Hub, I try not to push it too often because it's annoying, isn't it, when someone's trying to sell you a product. But you can get 30% off still. And I think they're still doing a 7-day free trial. Don't quote me on that, but you can have a look if you use the code in the description. There'll be a link down there somewhere, I think. Maybe they won't. I think there will be. Haaland had 0 XG. No, he didn't. Oh, yeah, I want to see that. I want to see. Inject it into my veins. I want to see that. Where's Haaland's XG? Give it to me. Do you know what? The addition of expected data onto the FPL site, genius work. Honestly, we always criticize FPL, but that is genius work. I love it. It's nice and simple. Oh, we did. Do we tweet about this? 0 XG for 14.1 million. I'm going to be so much less smug next week when Haaland twats in a hat-trick against Brighton. When Haaland gets a 17-pointer and Son and Salah blank, I'm going to feel significantly less smug. But just let me have this. Just let me have this. Listen, Arsenal are a fantastic defence, aren't they? They really are. Like, let's not get it twisted. Saliba and Gabriel, my word, arguably the best centre-back pairing in the league. Probably not even arguably. I mean, they are, aren't they? Saliba and Gabriel is the best centre-back partnership in the league. Are they? I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. No one gets close, do they? Maybe Botman and Cher? Fabian Cher and Botman? Jensen, Gordon, or Neto for next game week. Neto keeps returning, but he's got no goal threats, a lot of assist threat. I like Gordon still. I still think Gordon's the one for me. I saw a few people went for Gordon on their wild card and tucked him third sub. I think my girlfriend did exactly that, actually. So she went for Gordon and tucked him in there because a lot of people that wild carded in game week 8, which was the majority of players, wouldn't have had Gordon because they would have been put off by the suspension. So I like it. Oh, that's true, Marcus. Yeah. Maguire and Johnny Evans, better. Neto isn't consistent. I mean, Neto's quite literally consistent, right? If we have a look, Neto's been returning constantly. Neto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. But the thing is, his goal threat's not that high. His assist threat isn't even that high. He's just somehow getting loads of assists. I mean, he got 2 assists here with 0.53 XGI. So he's got 6 assists from 2.3 expected assists. So he's overperforming his expected assist by 3.7. He won't continue getting assists at that rate. He won't. And like I said, he's just not a big goal threat. He's only got 1 goal this season. And he's not a great finisher either. So when he gets the chance, I don't even back him to necessarily finish it. This sounds like I hate Neto. I don't hate Neto, but he's not my favourite. I definitely prefer Gordon for me. Didn't realise Hwang was a mid. 10 points today. Do you know what? Not only is my girlfriend good at FPL, she brought Hwang in her draft. And I was like, why are you bringing Hwang in? What a weird... She's ahead of the game. Ahead of the curve. Hasn't Hwang... What's he called in this? Is he called He-Chan? Yeah, He-Chan. Hwang He-Chan. He scored in consecutive games, hasn't he? Or he scored... Yeah, look, he scored 5 goals in 6 games. 2 of them from the bench, right? He's not very good for bonus points, though. Why is he that bad for bonus points? I guess some of them he's not played enough minutes to get the bonus. He could be a decent shout ahead of Pedro Neto. He started the last 2 games and got goals in both. Maybe we'll talk about him a little bit next week. Hwang He-Chan. Obviously, he hasn't been great in recent. Last season, he wasn't fantastic, but... I don't know. Show your draft team. Do you want to see my draft team? I don't think it did very well this week. Oh, it did okay. Raya on the bench. So Gahey 9-pointer. Trippier will still get bonus points. Udogi, Sterling in there as well. Darwin assist. I'll obviously have to remove Awonyi. That's decent. Chat, I'm all for it. That's my draft team. I think I'm top of the league, which is good. That's what we like to see. Hopefully Turner gets this game against Luton. But if not, I'll still get Areola on the bench. Please do smash a like if you're enjoying the stream, by the way. And like I said, if you're watching it back as a video, still smash a like and still make sure to drop a comment down below as always. But yeah, just smash the like. It really does help me out massively. And make sure to subscribe. If you're somehow one of the 2,000 people sat here watching me right now that isn't subscribed, just do it. Just do it. We've just hit 103,000. So we're still ticking along. Even after the 100K, we're still ticking along nicely. It's what you like to see. What to do with Flecken? Flecken's fine. It was just an injury. It's just injury. What's a draft team? So it's a different mode in FPL. You've said, like I said, 3,000 times. Like I said. I always say, like I said. Like I said. There goes one more. What's draft? Yeah, draft is where you have like a mini league and each player can only be owned by one person. So if you have 6 people, Haaland can only be owned by one of them. Saka can only be owned by one of them. So you're all, like, every time a player scores, only one person is getting their points. So it's really nice. And you're just playing it in your own little mini league. So I think we've got 6 or 7 in our draft. That's nice. Flecken is ill until mid-November. Wait, what? I missed that. What happened there? Why is Flecken ill until mid-November? What's he got? That's very strange. I missed when you got a girlfriend. 5 or 6 weeks ago was when she became my girlfriend officially. End of August. Thoughts on bench boost game week 10? Don't know. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. My team, pick and rate him. I tell you what, I do love the Hub site. I really do. Obviously, I am affiliated with Hub, but it's just a banging site. It looks so clean. What was I doing? Tell me what I was doing. Game week 10 bench boost. I might do that. Chat, hear me out here. Right, hear me out. If I do Fernandez to Saka, Maddison to Martinelli, and then if Darwin starts, we'd need confirmation. I don't suppose the early kickoff in game week 10 is Liverpool. No, it's not. Liverpool don't play until the Sunday. Oh, that's frustrating. I could take a -4 to remove Darwin. Nah, because I've got Turner against Liverpool, actually. Nah, the Turner... Sorry, I thought I had Areola against Everton. Nah, I don't like that. It's okay. It's not great. That's a better week for... Nah, actually, I've got... Nah, I don't think there is a massively... a great week to bench boost, in my opinion. From what I've seen, anyway, looking ahead. FPL Pickle says, wait, I got 53 in draft, nearly enough to match my actual team. You keep smashing it in draft. I'm not going to lie. You do keep smashing it. Ross loves the hub. Don't you start, Calvin. Don't you start. Why removing Darwin? Darwin was always a short-term option, but he just doesn't get enough minutes for me. Unless Gakpo gets re-injured or Darwin looks absolutely nailed, which I don't think he will. He just never gets enough minutes for me. How many did he play today? Did he stay on the pitch for the entire game? Yeah, he did. What was his XGI? Bloody hell. The one game I bring him in is the one game he doesn't even accumulate that many chances. At least he got an assist. At least he got an assist. Damn, I got 36 points. Yeah, that's been me every game week so far. I played against Bowen in Hereford County Trials. I was at Leominster School at the time, and I was at Hereford. He obliterated us. You don't realise the level of a Premier League player. I know he wasn't Premier League at the time, but you don't realise the levels of talent that these people have. It's very easy to sit there and say, this player's done this wrong and this player could have done this better, but yeah. What are your thoughts on Nottingham Forest assets? Gibbs White would be probably the only one I'd be interested in. He's on penalties as well, Gibbs White, isn't he? You could bring in a defender if you wanted to. I don't necessarily hate it, but yeah, for me it's Gibbs White or no one would probably be the way that I would go. Yeah, sorry. What? So Flecken apparently isn't ill. Then people are saying because the quote that I got was that he was ill, but people are saying he's just out. So maybe he's just injured then. So yeah, if you need to replace Flecken, if you don't have Areola, you go Areola. Johnston could be a decent shout. He's such a quality keeper, and Palace defense are pretty good. You could go Raya. He looked a bit shaky at points today, but he did keep a clean sheet. I'll end the captaincy poll, by the way. So if you're watching this back as a video and you can't see the poll because sometimes you can't, 45% are going for Salah. 41% Haaland, 12% Son, and 1% other. So definitely Salah at the moment is the slightly more popular one. But of course, we're just coming on the back of a Salah 15-pointer. So that's natural. Haaland, in my opinion, is comfortably the best captaincy option. I would go so easily for Haaland. And then myself at the moment, you can see I'm currently leaning Son. This team is so nasty, but no Saka. But I can bring Saka in, can't I? I can bring Saka back in Game Week 10. That's the plan. The plan at the moment is to get Saka in Game Week 10. How many points are you on total now, Ross? Sorry, I don't actually know. Let's have a look. 469, and my ranks, I'm lying here. It was this just before I started doing the live stream. It's about 1.2 million. So it is almost exactly a 2 million play screen arrow, which shows you how disastrous my rank was because I was ranked at 3.2 million. I haven't been that bad since for like 3 or 4 years across my entire YouTube stuff. I think the lowest I've been on YouTube before this season was like 300k. I've been smashing it. Like I don't drop very. I've not pushed it towards like. Obviously my finishes are 35k and 10k. I've not finished above 10k, but I've been consistently in and around the top 10k for pretty much both of the last 2 seasons. I'm not used to being sat at 3.2 mil. It felt. I hope I'd never get back there. But to be honest, if Haaland scores a hat trick, I am back there. This is the issue. Obviously, if my player's blank as well. So I'm not going to count my chickens. Is that the same? I'm not going to count my chickens yet. How did you meet? We would love a good love story. I actually met my girlfriend through FPL. So she was watching my streams. I may or may not have slid into her DMs. And we went from there. So really, thanks to FPL and thanks to YouTube, I've met the woman that hopefully I'll be marrying. Now, chat, we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but there we go. So yeah, very, very grateful for FPL and very grateful for YouTube. It's put me in a one. Listen, FPL and YouTube has given me a job. It has given me a partner, again, hopefully for life, which is amazing. It has given me something to do with my weekends as well, a hobby. It's bonded me with my nan as well. You know, Nana Raptor. Not that I wasn't close with Nana Raptor, but FPL has definitely got me a lot closer with my nan as well. And hopefully be in a position in the future to extend the business to the family as well, depending on what channels we have and what other stuff. So I have a lot to thank FPL and YouTube for. So yeah, it's count your eggs, not your chickens. Maybe I do want to count my chickens. Maybe the saying should be, I'm not going to count my chickens. Yeah, I think now you said count your eggs, that makes more sense. Can you leak who Yelena is dating? Yelena's dating Az from FPL Black Box. It's not a leak. What? I just don't understand what's happening. Like, they've been public on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for about eight or 9 months now. Maybe even long. Yeah, about 8 or 9 months. I don't understand what's happening with that. But Az from FPL Black Box is who she's dating. Wholesome Raptor. I am nothing if not a wholesome man, you know? The full phrase is don't count your chickens until they roost. There you go. Luis Diaz looked awful. I genuinely think Luis Diaz had a bit of a shocker. Which makes me think if Gakpo isn't fully fit, right? Hear me out. If Gakpo isn't fully fit in Game Week 9, which I do think he will be, but let's say he's not, Jota will start, Salah will start. I honestly don't think Luis Diaz did enough in that game to start. I think it could be Darwin, Jota, Salah. But obviously, Darwin will probably come off early. Gloaty Raptor. I don't think I've gloated once. I'm happy, I'm smiling, but I don't think I've gloated. What's the plan for the next few game weeks? Just assess it. My team is in such like a flexible position that I can do whatever I want. Why don't you put a cap on the Raptor icon? That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Show your Game Week 8 points. Yeah, we've looked at the Game Week 8, but I can go back to it. Here we go. 73. There you go. So the only 3 players that blanked were Cash, Alvarez, and Bruno. To be honest, no one got Turner 6, Trippier 6, Udogi 6, Maddison 6, Darwin 5, Watkins 5. So lots of... That's loud. Lots of 5s and 6s. And then Salah just battered it. And obviously Haaland blanked, which helped me as well. Which obviously went in my favour. Son blanked too. Yeah, Son blanked, but I wanted Son to smash it. Son is at a low enough ownership that even though I didn't captain him, Son would have still helped me out. So I actually wanted Son to do well. It didn't help me that Son blanked, but obviously in mini leagues it did. Because in a lot of my mini leagues, people captained Son. But I still wanted Son to do well. Would you keep Sterling if you had him? No, I'd bin Sterling off, to be honest. You've got 16 points. Get rid of him now, I think. I'm not convinced. Van de Ven, Palmer, and Sterling did well. I'm very interested by Palmer. If he's on penalties at 4.9 million, Palmer could be a really nice shout. Didn't watch the Villa game. How did Diaby do? Not fantastic. Not fantastic at all. I'll go off the data because I didn't watch the game either. But from the comments of people that did watch the game, I don't think they were particularly impressed. Yeah, 0.07 XGI. Nothing. So Diaby and Bowen both showed very little threat. But obviously we know that Diaby and Bowen are both good shouts. You want Diaby for this. You can't sell him now. Luton, Forest, and Fulham, 2 of those games being at home. Diaby's still a great option. I may well still bring Diaby in. Oh, wow. I didn't mean to do that. What am I doing? There we go. Gutted that Watkins missed that with the last kick of the game. Yeah, Watkins almost scored at the end. He would have been on a 12-pointer if Watkins had scored at the end rather than a 5-pointer. It was a 7-point swing because he probably would have gone top for bonus as well. What are your thoughts on Trent going forward if you own him? He was on for bonus points before Brighton equalised, and I thought he had a good game. Yeah, if you've got Trent, you keep him. I didn't see a lot from Trent that made me think I won't want to own that player. And also, we knew that Brighton would probably score. Like, it wasn't a great game for Trent defensively, and he looked pretty good going forward. And it was his first game back. So, yeah, I think if you've got Trent, you keep Trent. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to bring Trent in at the moment, unless you're on a wild card and you want to go no Haaland. But other than that, I think you're fine. Hi, Ross. I like how brave you are going against the crowd, Haaland. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it might look horrible in the next few weeks. I wouldn't. What did we say the actual saying was? I'm not going to count my chickens. I'm not going to count my eggs before they hatch. That was that the same? Anyway, I'm not going to do that. I know full well that Haaland against Brighton, Manchester United, and Bournemouth is going to be horrific. But I just hope that my players that I've chosen can get there. Not going to... I think I got the saying wrong again. Oh, God. What do we do with Luis Diaz? Got him on the wild card. Just wait for early team news. I think he might start in Game Week 9. Yes, this was Haaland's toughest fixture. The worst is yet to come. Exactly that. This is Haaland's toughest fixture, and he blanked. That is exactly what we expected. We expected Haaland to struggle in this game, but then we expect him to do well. But we just hope that he doesn't do so well, you know? Who do I replace Mbermo with? Diaby, probably. Diaby, Bowen, Matoma would be one of those three. Diaby, Bowen, Matoma. I think are the three. Like, Brighton's fixtures from Game Week 10 are lovely. And we've not seen anything to suggest that they are not a good attacking team still. I mean, Matoma's not got tons of returns, but in the last two. But 14, I know blanked there, 12. Still got a couple of assists in there as well. I mean, 6 returns in 8 games for Matoma is pretty good. And then you've got this run. Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, Forest. So I think I'll be looking to try and bring Matoma in either in Game Week 10, if I don't bring in Martinelli and Saka. Maybe I just go for one of Martinelli or Saka and go Matoma. But if I do, it may be in Game Week 11 or Game Week 12, because I still think these fixtures are fine. But really, you do want to try and bring in the Brighton asset as soon as possible. So yeah, we'll see. Brighton rotation seems a nightmare. But is it for Matoma? Isn't his minutes still really good? Yeah, Matoma's minutes are outrageous, right? 90, 80, 90, 90, 90, 45, 90, 90. Right? Obviously, this game he was rotated, but he came on at halftime and scored a brace for a 14-pointer. He won't do that every time he's benched, of course, but I think Matoma's fine for minutes. I think he's the only one that I fully trust. Like, Estepinan's injured, so I'm not interested there. I also like my defense as it is. Realistically, it's Matoma or no one for me. Haaland looks so uninterested, very concerning, and Pep's up defensive from the start. Not playing Doku is absolutely criminal. Yeah, but if City win that 1-0, you just say it's a Pep masterclass, don't you? I mean, it's a very fine line. But yeah, Haaland struggles in away games against top 6 sides. I've told you this. If you've been watching my content for the last couple of weeks, I've been telling you repeatedly that Haaland struggles, firstly away from home, but specifically away from home against top 6 sides. So I fully expected Haaland to struggle against Arsenal. It's why I was quite confident going into the game week. I wasn't actually that nervous. Like, I was still a little bit nervous watching the game today, but the fact that I could even watch it tells you a lot. Brighton at home next week, on the other hand, it's a different game altogether. I guarantee you Haaland returns at least once. But he's 14.1 million, so you need him to return. You need him to return. Ross, can you ask your girlfriend if Rashford to Bowen is the move to make? I can do. Girlfriend, if you're watching, is Rashford to Bowen the move to make? She'll probably say yes, but Rashford is playing at Sheffield United, so. Are you a Manchester United fan? Yeah. Unfortunately. Although we did win this week. Scott McTominay's a legend. A legend. Are you doing YouTube as a hobby besides lecturing, or do you see yourself only doing YouTube in the future? No, I think I'll go full-time YouTube. That's the current plan. So I'm doing it as alongside my PhD. When I graduate in probably end of 2025 is when my PhD is due to end. I'll have the decision to make between going full-time YouTube or becoming a lecturer. But yeah, I need to finish my PhD and then make that decision. I've got the same draft as you, except Diaby instead of Bruno. Very nice. So you probably did well as well this week then. Ross, if you didn't have Bowen, would you do Maddison to Bowen or Matoma in Game Week 10? Bowen. I think Bowen's just sure to start. Do both. Nah, I wouldn't be a lecturer and a YouTuber, I don't think. Maybe. it just takes a lot of your time doing YouTube, and doing that alongside a 40-hour-a-week job. More than that, actually. Lecturers work more than 40 hours a week often. Maybe I could, but no, I think I want to do YouTube. I love it. And at the moment, it's going very, very well. You guys like watching me. So as long as you carry on watching me, I'll go full time. How many points did you score this week? I scored 73 points. 73 points. To the person that asked my girlfriend if they should sell Bowen, they should sell Rashford and buy Bowen, she said, I'd say no this week, but I haven't been watching the Manchester United games. She's such a YouTuber. She's not a YouTuber. That's a YouTube comment. She's dropped a little caveat in there. She's like, this is my opinion. However, caveat. That's what I do. I do that very well. People will say, would you make this move? And I'll go, I would make the move. However, and then you sprinkle in the caveat. You go, but trust your gut feeling. That's the caveat. So that if it doesn't pay off, then you don't blame me too much. All in the mind games. Ross, how do you split your time over the weekends between university work and FPL? I don't do much uni work over the weekend. I'll be entirely honest. I don't. It's just, I don't think it's worth stressing over stuff. I love you too. All that matters is being happy. Damn right. That just goes for all of life. All of life. I do love live streaming, chat. I wish I could just live stream all of my videos, but I can't because live streams don't do as well as videos in the middle of the week. Deadline streams pop off, right? I have like sometimes almost 100,000 people watching a deadline stream, but in the middle of the week, no one cares for them. I much prefer streaming to making videos. I really do. Do people recognize you in real life? yeah. A lot more at the moment recently. Yeah, it's been crazy. Since like halfway through last season, it's quite common, to be honest. Marcus, I love you too, man. You're so darn cute. Just snuck that one in there. Has creating content affected your PhD in a negative way at all? I'm sorry, we've moved on to non-FPL questions. I'm just answering the questions that have been asked. Yes, probably. It means that I'm spending less extra time. I don't think I've sacrificed my PhD, but I've certainly not spent the extra time required to like really nail the PhD. Because if I have extra time, I put it into my YouTube channel as well. Congrats on the green arrow. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is Flecken injured? Apparently Flecken's out till mid-November. I completely missed that. Martinelli back at 7.7. Oh, I really want Martinelli. I'm probably going to get Martinelli. I can go in one move from Bruno to Martinelli, and I can have back-to-back Sheffield United for Fernandes, Sheffield United for Martinelli. That then gives me 0.7 in the bank to then spend elsewhere. I might well end up upgrading Darwin to Jesus. Oh, chat. That's naughty. That would be a naughty set of moves. What about this? It would mean I have a benching headache. But in game week 10, roll the transfer in 9. Game week 10, Fernandes to Martinelli. And then Darwin to Jesus. I mean, I wouldn't have Saka, is the only slight concern. I'd play Bowen against Everton ahead of Alvarez. So it would be Salah, Son, Martinelli, Maddison, Bowen, Watkins, Gabby, Jesus. Do you know what? This no Haaland business is... God, that's so loud. This no Haaland business is fun. Look at this. I'm getting to take punts on all sorts of players because I've just got so much money to spend. That could be cheeky. Could be very cheeky. What are you saying about that? Ross, would you say you have OCD? Mild OCD. I can share my issues with you. So I have quite bad ADHD. I don't know if that comes across on my live streams. If anyone's from a clinical background, you can probably diagnose my ADHD through the screen. But yeah, I've quite bad ADHD. I probably have mild OCD, but I wouldn't say it's nothing that needs to be diagnosed. If Son doesn't look great against Fulham, would you consider selling him for Saka, Martinelli, Matoma, Diaby? Maybe. Unlikely. If Son doesn't look as great, then fine. My issue with Son is if he doesn't look fit again, I'm worried about, like, is he just going to continue to look like he looked off the pace. There was a through ball that who slid it through? It might have been Saar. Someone slid Son through into like a one-on-one situation with a defender. Who was he up against? He was just up against like one of the Luton defenders. He didn't have any pace, and Son is a quick player. He just didn't look at it. So yeah. What are the price changes tonight? Can have a look at those. So Anderson and Maddison, maybe. Julian Alvarez is getting close. Fabian Schär, Turner, Son, Luca Dean. Not all of these are going to go up, by the way. Like, and only 2 of them are above 100 at the moment, but they're all very close. So, like, these are the players that if you're on a wild card right now, right, if you've activated your wild card, get these players in. If you're not on a wild card, don't make a transfer before the international break. But yeah, if you're on a wild card, even if you think you might not need them, bring them in. But just beware, don't sell players that you've got money tied up in as well. And then players that will be falling. Eze looks like he's falling. Trent, I don't think should fall because he's actually been brought in by managers at the moment. Wilson might be falling. Martinelli was close, but I don't think he'll fall now, obviously on the back of scoring. Botman's close as well. Yeah, but the main ones are the risers. Anderson, Maddison, if you want Alvarez, Fabian Schär, Turner, Son. I don't think you want Luca Dean anyway. So not that many meaningful price rises, but there are a few. FPL Pickles says, I think I have ADHD. Yeah, bit of the autism and a bit of the ADHD. People are so rude. You're perfect, Ross. Thanks. I didn't even see anyone being rude, but yeah. No, it's fine. I do have really bad ADHD. But I try not to let it affect my live streams. I don't think it affects my live streams too much. I think the only way it'll affect my live streams is you might see me dart around things a little bit like frantically. So it might seem like I think some people think it's stress. It's not stress. It's like my brain wants to do loads of different things at once. So I'll be reading a super chat and I'll be looking on Twitter and then I'll be talking about my team and it's like I can't focus my attention on one thing very well. But other than that, it shouldn't affect the streams too much. I love my team. I love looking at that team. I hope I don't get too many. I hope I don't get too many injuries in the international break. I thought there were no price rises over the international break. That is wrong. There are price rises. There are less price rises because less people are making transfers. So when you play your wildcard over the international break, you tend to get less. You get less benefit from the price changes, but there will still be price changes. All right, Marcus. Let's maybe tone it down a bit, mate. You know, don't mug me off too much in the chat. Did you get that Mackey's in the end? I did. I got a large McCrispy meal and I got a large double cheeseburger meal with extra pickles. So I had 2 large chips. I had a big chicken burger, a big double cheeseburger. And that was it. And I could have eaten more. I finished it quite comfortably. I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan, Marcus. Don't you worry about that. Oh, yes. I absolutely mullered that Macca's. Oh, it was good. Ross, I went Haalandless. Seeing your confidence and excitement getting into that territory got me hyped. I did pretty well. That's what I like to hear. Perfect. You like your big pickles? I do like my big pickles. How long did it take you to eat the McDonald's, though? I eat very slowly. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes to eat that McDonald's. But I'm a slow eater. I like to make it a culinary experience. You know, for me, it's not just about getting food inside me. That sounds a bit sus. Let's rewind. It's not about getting food inside my mouth. I wanted pickles inside my mouth. An hour. Why is everyone mugging me off? I like eating slowly. Just leave it, you know. Leave it out. Macca's and culinary experience in the same sentence. What do you call McDonald's, by the way? Do you call it McDonald's? Do you call it Mackey's? Do you call it Macca's? I go between Mackey's and Macca's. But sounds like a good weekend all round. The only thing that was missing is my girlfriend. Manchester United won. FPL went well. I had McDonald's. Just didn't have her. But other than that, it was perfection. Mackey's. Ross, have you thought about doing a hair transplant? Oh my God, that reminds me. So at the moment, you might be able to see, I've got Invisalign. So my teeth, they're like invisible braces. But I've got Invisalign, and someone said, can you get Invisalign for your hair? Like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I wish you could. I wish it was that easy. No, I like my bald head. I like my bald head. It's very iconic. It's very iconic. Are you saying your girlfriend ruined your weekend? Basically, yeah. It's rude. Can you explain how FPL decides on when to give you cash from players gaining value? Yeah, so every 0.2 that a player goes up, you gain 0.1. Right, here's a price rise and price fall lesson for you. So you doggy, I bought you doggy at 4.5 million, and he is now 4.9 million. So he has risen 0.4 in value. So for every 0.2, I gain 0.1. So if he has risen 0.4, I get 0.2 million for that. So I can sell you doggy at 4.7 million, but if I wanted to buy you doggy back, it would cost me 4.9. Does that make sense? So if a player rises in 1 million since you bought them, you would gain 0.5 million on that player. Don't ask me why they do that. It's just the way that they do. But yeah, so you gain 0.1 for every 0.2. With price falls, it's much more straightforward. If a player drops 0.1, you lose 0.1 on that player. So price falls, they're a bit savage with it. As soon as you lose 0.1 on a player, you've lost 0.1 on them. Unless they've risen in price and then start falling, and then it becomes a bit trickier, right? But if they've fallen below their base price that you bought them at, you just lose value on them. Hopefully that's made sense. So when we say you've got money tied up in a player, I technically have 0.2 million tied up in Udoggy. So what that means is if I was to sell him and want to buy him back, I would lose 0.2 million. So that's the way price rises and price falls work in FPL. Once you wrap your head around it, it's relatively easy to understand. Are your lectures as dull as this? Rude. Incredibly rude. Right, I'm going to leave it there, chat, because I only wanted to go for about an hour and a half, and we are approaching an hour and a half. This will be my only content for like the next 7 or 8 days, so kick back, enjoy the international break. If you miss me terribly, which I'm sure you will, you can just watch this back. And if you are watching this back as a video or you're still watching this live, please smash a like. Make sure to subscribe as well. We're not on a road to any kind of subscriber, but we are obviously still trying to gain that. So please make sure to subscribe. Thank you for all of the support with my no Haaland decision. It was a wild ride, and hopefully it goes this well in Game Week 10, and Game Week 9, Game Week 10, and Game Week 11. I can't see it doing so, but we can hope. So thank you very much, and I will catch you very soon for the Game Week 9 content.